Hey everyone, this is Casual Fanatic.
Film reviews without the shoes.
I'm Luca, your casual viewer.
And I'm Cayman, your fanatic. How's it going?
It's going. Hello. How are you today?
Doing pretty good.
Hell yeah. I'm doing pretty good too. I went to Costco today and I got a few things and I've just been like kind of hanging out for today.
Yeah.
What you been up
same.
to?
Today has been a very lazy day. Elaine and I went to a graduation party last night and we didn't get home till like 4:00 in the morning. So
oh my God.
We slept in quite a bit.
I believe it. What time did you guys wake up from being out till 4?
Probably around 11ish for me, and then maybe like 12:31 for Elena.
That's not bad at all. Oh, like 7 hours and maybe 9 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Was it a good time though?
It was a lot of people. Like,
but yeah, whose graduation was it? Was it multiple people's or was it one person?
There was 2 people, but most of the people there weren't even friends with either of the like graduating people.
Wait, what? Did they say they could bring other people, or did it just kind of happen?
Yeah. No, because it was so the 2 people that were graduating were Astrid and Casey.
Right.
The party was at their friend Mario's house. And so a lot of the people that came were Mario's friends, not Astrid and Casey's friends.
That's kind of weird, but okay. Yeah, I saw some snaps. Looked like you guys had a lot of fun, so that's good. Big dubs for fun times.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, well,
but
what's Astrid's plan after this?
She's already been accepted. She's going to Louisiana.
Oh boy.
And I don't know what Casey is doing, but I don't talk to Casey as much as I talk to Astrid. So
right. Very good. Well, besides all these fun things that we usually talk about, what movie are we reviewing today?
Today I'm gonna go on, and then I'm gonna let everyone know that we're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Volume 3.
Written and directed by James Gunn, stars all of the Guardians and some new faces. But I guess we'll go through box office real quick. The budget was estimated to be about $250 million. So, I mean,
that's a lot.
Expected for a Marvel movie like this, but
very true.
And obviously it's still in theaters, so we don't have final numbers yet, but it looks like so far it's made about $213 million in the US and Canada and about $475 million worldwide.
Okay, so not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
And I'm pretty sure it's gonna come out, or it's gonna stay out in theaters for a while. Longer.
Yeah. How many days ago or how many weeks ago did it come out? Do you know?
Released on May 5th. So it's been out not even 2 weeks yet.
Yeah, it's gonna be there for a bit. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about it too, so it'll get people in the theaters, I'm sure.
Yeah. So what did you think about Volume 3?
I thought this was a fantastic movie. If I would rate it out of 10, I'd probably say 9 out of 10.
Damn, all right.
Yeah, it was up there for me. I enjoyed what should we call it? I enjoyed the storyline that they put out.
Okay.
I liked the flashbacks that they had, and I really enjoyed like the heart-wrenching emotions that they put into this movie. It was a very wide scale from like depression to happiness to like being scared and basically like loss.
Yeah.
It was very, very cool.
It was definitely, I think it was start to finish, it definitely felt like it was more, I guess, character focused than
absolutely
plot focused. Like obviously it had a plot, and we'll talk about that more later. But I think especially out of the 3 Guardians films, this one, the actual story doesn't really matter that much.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, it helped the character development in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't matter too much. You're right. So what did you think of it?
I think it was pretty good. I don't know if I like it as much as everyone else seems to like it, and I don't know if maybe some of that is I'm gonna like wait a bit and see, because sometimes people's opinions cool down after, because it just came out, and I feel like a lot of times when a movie just comes out, everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is the best movie ever. But I have seen a lot of reviews of people saying like this is their favorite out of the 3 Guardians movies, and it's not for me, but it's not a bad movie. I don't know, I feel like I probably would still say I like the first one more.
Interesting. What about the first one do you think it had on top of Volume 3?
I don't know, it just felt...
Is it just nostalgia?
I don't know. This one, it felt to me a little kind of baity in a way.
Baity?
Yeah.
What are they trying to bait? Like human emotion?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like it feels like and I'm not dogging on anyone for having an emotional reaction to this movie, but I feel like all of the emotional moments, I don't know, they just like didn't feel as genuine as I wanted them to. But I also, maybe I'm just like a cold-hearted bitch, so...
I mean, did you cry during the movie?
I did,
or
a couple
like,
times.
At least tear up? Yeah. It's interesting that you say that. I would bet that the times that I cry are not the ones that you think that I cried at, though. Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll have to go over those. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think, I mean, maybe with certain parts here and there, it was quite baity, but I kind of felt that it was coming. But I think some of the heart-wrenching moments were the ones that I just didn't expect that were coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can tell you this, like I obviously watched this in theaters, and
oh yeah, how was your theater experience?
So many people around me were crying during this movie. Bet. Like the whole time. Movie experience was great. I think the sound design that they had was pretty solid for this movie.
Yeah.
It did feel like immersive, I would say. The filming I feel like was good. The CGI was also pretty good. I didn't have any issues with anything that I saw, honestly. Yeah. And I had like both seats next to me free in the theater. Nice. So even more of a W.
The seat I was in was a little old. Like you could tell some of the material was peeling off. So that was a little gross. But other than that, everything was fine.
That's good. Was it one of those that you could eat in or no?
Yeah. The theater we go to is we always go to the same one. Well, not always, but like 99% of the time we go to the same one. And they have like a full menu there. So
are you one of the people that have like the subscription?
No.
Oh no. Okay. I'm just wondering because like AMC offers like the subscription thing, and it's like,
oh, yeah?
I don't know how much it is, but you can see like 2 to 3 movies a week for free. I'm like, damn, what the hell?
That's insane.
Yeah.
Now the theater we go to, they have a membership thing, but it's like it's like you need like 1,000 points to 1,000 points to see a free movie, and I think it's like 2 points for every $1 you spend. So I'd have to spend $500 to add up to a movie.
Not fucking no. That's terrible.
Those may not be exact numbers, but it's like it's that level of ridiculous.
Gosh. Okay, it makes sense that you don't have one then. No thanks.
But it's also because there's theaters that I guess Studio Movie Grill is like the classic one, but there's theaters like that where, you know, they have like the little button on, like each seat has a table and you like order while you're sitting in the theater, and then they like bring the food to you while you're watching, kind of thing.
Right.
But ours is like not like that. It's like a normal theater, but just like when you go to the concession stands, instead of just like popcorn and hot dogs, you can get like a pizza or some chicken tenders or like shrimp tacos or things like that.
Oh, so you do have to get out of your seat for it.
Yeah. So we just get all our food in the beginning, and then just like you just have to get there early enough to get food and then take it into the theater.
Does it last the whole time, you think?
I mean, no. I'm a fast eater. I finish my food in like the first 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, and then wouldn't you want something else, like a smoothie or a shake or something like that? No? All right. Yeah, I know. I usually don't get food at all when I go to theaters, just because I look at it and I'm like, $10.50 for a popcorn, and then I think, I'm like, damn, that's a whole Chipotle bowl, and then I just don't get it.
Yeah, that's why I don't get like popcorn food like that, but I'll get like last time I got some chicken tenders and French fries, and they have amazing French fries there. And then the time before that, I got a panini, which was amazing.
I mean, are they overpriced or is it pretty level?
I mean, it's like getting food at like a normal restaurant.
Oh, okay, that's not too bad then. It's the experience.
Yeah.
Well, good.
But I definitely prefer that over like having the staff go in and out of the theater while it's happening.
I can see that. Yeah.
Because like they try to be secretive, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah. At one point, it's not going to be staff anymore. Each seat is going to have like a thing where the food can be brought to you from underground.
Like a little conveyor belt.
Cool. Yeah. That'd be dope.
That would be kind of cool. I feel like it'd be really noisy though. They'd have to figure out how to.
Nah, you can make it quiet. What? Doesn't have to be loud.
Well, but any amount of noise, even if it's like not super loud.
Yeah.
I feel like it could be distracting.
Yeah. I get it. Okay, well, now that we got our thoughts out of the way, shall we go into the boxing ring?
I believe we shall. I think I went first.
Yeah,
last
you did.
time?
You did.
Okay.
And it is me this time. Let me write that out. Oops. Sorry. It's hard to type because I have my cat on my lap.
That's all right.
It's not an excuse, I swear. Okay, well, damn, this is a hard one just because
really
like I don't
is.
like there's just so much, but it's like
I don't know.
What do you think they're gonna harp on, you know?
No.
The Avengers have to spring back into action to launch an emergency mission to save their friend Rocket, who was injured when a mad scientist wanted his brain. I might be giving away too much, but that's okay.
Spoilers.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know. All right, your turn.
Also, you said Avengers.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes it happens. You know what I mean? The Guardians. Scratch Avengers, put in Guardians.
I'm gonna say the Guardians have to traverse the galaxy to defend one of their friends. I don't know. This is a really difficult one.
Yeah, it was hard. That's why I put too much spoiler in it, I think. All right, well, let's hear the real deal.
Peter Quill, still reeling from the loss of Gamora, must rally his team around him to defend the universe along with protecting one of their own. A mission that, if not completed successfully, could quite possibly lead to the end of the Guardians as we know them.
Damn, that was really bad. I don't know. That could apply to any of the movies.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, except for the like reeling from the loss of Gamora thing. That's very specific to this one. But also, this is like, I don't know. This is, I guess we'll like light spoiler warning here, but I feel like the movie wasn't really focused on Peter. So it's weird that they chose to make it like, oh yeah, he's reeling from the loss of Gamora. Like, yeah, that did happen, but that wasn't, that was like a
small part.
It was like a secondary story.
Yeah. Wow, I really didn't like that one. That was a very bad one. I don't even know how to explain who won or lost. I mean, I guess I gave away a lot more than you did.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
if we're gonna
but also it didn't even mention Rocket.
Yeah, well, it said like something about one of their team members.
That's true, but I also said defend one of their friends.
Yeah, and they said something about a mission, and I said they go on a mission.
True. I guess. Sure. I mean, you can have this one.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I said mission, but I did give away way more.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a rough one.
Yeah. I said they went on an emergency mission to save one of their friends, Rocket. Yeah. That's what I mentioned, Rocket. I guess I shouldn't have said that as a name, but whatever.
All right. Well, yeah, you got this one then.
Okay.
Because you talked about them going on a mission. I think I just said they traversed the galaxy, but
hey, that would have been good, but not this one. It was just a bad one. Alrighty, well, I think we should take a break here real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we come back. And we're back. Hello.
Crazy.
Alrighty. Well, before we start, we have a special guest that has a message for us.
This is the spoiler section. If you don't want the movie spoiled, don't listen.
All right. Thank you, friend. I appreciate your message. Okay, well, now that we have the spoilers out of the way, where do you want to start? Do you want to start off of Quill's depression or what? Because that's kind of where the movie began, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he gets like completely blackout drunk in the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
And so they definitely, I guess that brings us in because they have a scene where he like completely collapses and then Nebula has to carry him to his house.
Yeah, and Nebula is still the mad Nebula that we know and love.
And I saw a couple like behind the scenes clips, and they like actually built like a full sized like a dummy of Peter.
Really?
Yeah. And like I don't know what they made it out of that made it, because it was like crazy light so that Karen Gillan, who plays Nebula, like could actually just carry it.
Oh wow, that's really cool. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. I mean,
but they showed that clip in some of the trailers, and that sort of I guess gets me started on the Beatty part, because I feel like a lot of the lead up to this movie was like people talking about like who's gonna survive, and even things like in the summary there where it said it could lead to the end of the Guardians. Like a lot of the dialogue about this movie before it came out was making it seem like someone was gonna die, and they had a lot of shots like that, and that was one of them where like if you're watching the trailer and you see the Guardians walking and Peter Quill is like passed out in someone else's arms, like that looks like he got injured, but then he was just drunk. But there was I feel like there was a lot of moments in this movie where they like try to make you feel like someone might die, but then everyone survives the movie, and it was, I mean, not bad. It's not like I wanted one of the characters to die, but I feel like it was just too many fake out deaths for me.
Interesting. I don't know. I think it's funny because like mentioning that, oh, like it might be the end of the Avengers, and you get to the end of the movie and it's like actually Avengers like low-key the end of the Avengers.
Guardians.
It's like, oh, sorry, Guardians. I'm thinking of this because like I think part of it ties into like with Gamora dying. That was in the Avengers Endgame, right?
Yeah.
Or am I tripping?
Or that was in Infinity War. Yeah, that was in Infinity War, not Endgame.
What happened in Endgame? Something happened with Endgame. I remember that movie.
Endgame is when other Gamora got brought back from a different dimension or a different timeline.
Oh God. Okay. Well, never mind that then. Yeah, I don't know. I think like it's funny they mentioned that, and then like at the end it's like everyone's going their own separate way, and then I don't know. It kind of like was the end of the Guardians, but I guess not really, because they'll just rejoin if something crazy happens. But
no, I mean they're like, I think for now this definitely is gonna be like I don't foresee them coming back anytime soon. I think obviously we have at the end of this movie the new team with Rocket as the leader, and at the end of the credits it said Star-Lord will return, so I don't really know what that's about.
Well, Star-Lord is Quill.
Yeah, I know, but I was like, I don't know where they're trying to go with like him coming back, but not with the rest of the team.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, because there was like a lot, like obviously the entire movie. There's several times where they make it seem like Rocket's gonna die. There's a moment where Drax gets pretty badly injured, and they kind of make you feel like he's gonna die. And then at the end, like Peter almost dies in space and like gets saved last moment. And like they really like lingered on it for a long time, because there have been moments in the other Guardians movies where like if someone gets left out in space, they like freeze over and die. But
yeah.
That, because I'm pretty sure that exact same thing happened in the first movie, but he just got icy. But in this one, he like got icy, and then his face like bulged, and I was like, did he literally just die? Because that would have been like really graphic if we just like watched all of the blood vessels in his face burst, and he just like,
dude, true.
But nope, he survived that too. So,
I mean, do you think it's wrong that they did all that?
I think it's fine to do it like once, but when you have like 4 different scenes where you are trying to make the audience think someone's going to die and then they don't die, then it just feels like, that's why I'm saying like it feels like they're just trying to take the easy route to getting emotions out of people. Like it feels like a low effort kind of a way for the movie to be emotional. Like, oh no, a character you like is gonna die, everyone start crying.
I don't know. I didn't cry at any of those moments. I mean, of course they were like sad, but I think with all of them, I kind of knew that nothing was going to happen from it, if that makes sense. Like they just didn't seem like good endings for the characters. And if that would have been the ending, it would have been bad ending.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm glad none of them did die, but it just like, what's the point of like making it seem like they're going to if they're not going to?
I mean, I don't know. How else are they supposed to bring like thriller into the movie, you know?
There are ways to make it dangerous without having like a fake death scene.
Yeah. I think maybe the Quill one was overdone. Like it would have been pretty cool if he like, you know, ran out, got his iPod and like jumped across space and like had to jump over these obstacles to get in, but
and like I'm not even mad about the rocket one because that was like the main plot of the story.
Right.
Everyone else adding on top of that was a little much for me.
I get that. Yeah, so speaking of Rocket, he off the rip also seemed kind of depressed. Like what was that about?
So the movie opens with him listening to Creep by Radiohead, and it was like kind of a it kind of really puts you in the like the minds the headspace of the like the vibes of the movie. Because obviously like we know from previous films that Rocket, like part of his history is that he was experimented on, even though he never really gets into specifics, and we see those specifics in this movie. And I think
we do.
Yeah, and I definitely I think that's the part that was emotional for most people, is because and I'm not gonna say I'm like totally love animal cruelty, but but that also, I don't, if like that's also just an easy way to get people on your side. And like, well, if you really want someone to be like, hey, we have this new bad guy and I need everyone to not like him. And so if he was like, I feel like, because they rescue some kids at the end, but I feel like if his whole deal was just experimenting on people, I feel like people wouldn't hate him as much. But because he was experimenting on animals, then people like are acting like he's the most evil person in the universe. Yeah,
I mean, granted, that happens in a lot of movies, like, you know, when dogs get killed brutally.
No, for sure.
You know.
And I think I've talked about this, I'm pretty sure, before, but I just like, that's not my I guess my heartstring to tug on. I care much more about like children getting hurt than I do animals getting hurt. And so
yeah, but
when I'm watching a movie and a dog dies, I'm like, oh dang, that sucks. It just like doesn't affect me as much.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like the little baby raccoons are like children to Rocket, and I think that's why to me that kind of made it more impactful than just like some random animals being tested on, right? And especially we see that whenever they're evacuating the ship after they beat the Warlock.
The High Evolutionary. Or unless, are you talking about Adam Warlock?
No, the High Evolutionary.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Because Adam Warlock is also another antagonist in this film for a while. He's we'll get to Adam Warlock. Continue what you were saying.
Yeah. I kind of forgot what I was saying now, but basically like when they were evacuating the ship and you could tell Rocket like saw these little raccoons as like himself and as his kids kind of, and he like took him in his arms. I felt like that was kind of like a very impactful moment. And I think one thing about raccoons and the way they showed the raccoons is they gave them such beautiful human eyes.
Yeah.
That always like, I feel like that always gets people.
They did make all the animals really cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say was rabbit, though? the most emotional scene of the movie?
Oh, honestly, for me, it was at the very end when Quill like walks in on his dad, and his dad like gets up, and they have like that moment that did it for me. Yeah, that one that's where I got teary eyed. I was like, that is so beautiful, and it's not something that I expected to have happen.
Blows my mind when I don't know because I don't have children, and I definitely don't have adult children. But I feel like whenever in movies, when like someone goes home and it's been like 15 years and then their parents immediately recognize them, I'm like,
yeah,
how? Like the last time he saw Peter, he was like, what, 9? I'm like, I don't know if I would recognize a 30-year-old from what they looked like when they were 9.
Well, I don't know, because like, you know what you looked like when you were 30, and I'm sure they carried that resemblance in them, right? And you having looked at yourself for that many years, you kind of like look back into the past if you look at your kids now, current, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like if I look at my dad's pictures of when he was my age, 26, it's quite strikingly similar. Of course, there are differences. And I think the same goes for my mom. Like I looked a lot like my mom too. I don't know.
You make some good points.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was definitely the most emotional scene for me. What about you?
For me, it was.
Don't start crying. So... It's okay. This is a safe space.
So there's a scene where Rocket flatlines, and then there was like some really probably the best acting I've seen from Chris Pratt in a while, when he's like frantically trying to resuscitate him and like screaming and stuff. That was great on its own. But I feel like the scene right after that, and they finally do bring him back, because there's the whole like dream sequence where he sees all of his friends, and he's like, oh, can I come fly with you guys? And Lila's like, yes, but not yet. And then like pushes him back.
She didn't say it that fast. Some shit happened. And
well, yeah, there was some shit.
But not yet.
And also, I thought it was funny that like him getting sucked back to life was in the middle of him saying, "I'm not a raccoon."
True.
But right after he comes back and he hugs everyone, the first thing he says after being revived is, "Where's Nebula?" And that made me cry, because I know that those two characters have like probably the strongest relationship out of anyone on the team, because they have probably a lot, because they have a shared history of being experimented on, and they know what that's like. And so
that's interesting.
Yeah, I just thought it just really got me when he, after just barely not dying, immediately asks about Nebula, because he cares about her so much.
Oh, yeah. So at that point, where was Nebula?
I think that was when she was still on the bad guy ship, because they went to rescue.
Oh, right, they split. Right.
Yeah, they went to rescue Peter and Groot, but then they jumped out of the ship, and so they were already off the ship, but then everyone else broke into the ship to try and save them.
Yeah. Fucking idiots, man. Which actually, I never saw the planet actually explode. Or did he just like destroy the surface of the planet?
Yeah, I don't think they like blew up the planet, but definitely the entire surface got fucked. Like,
gotcha. Yeah. So how did that evil high evolutionary mad scientist survive that long? Was he like, I mean, I guess he was a big part robot too, or?
Well, I mean, because it hadn't been that long. He's like, well,
he said
I don't know how old Rocket is.
He said he's wiped planets before.
Yeah, but we also see there's a machine where he can like within seconds create like a bunch of people. So I imagine it's just like he blows it up, and then like within a week he's got enough people to refill the planet.
God. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, true. So what did you think about him as a character? How did he do?
I thought, I mean, the performance was pretty good. I'm gonna take a stab at his name, but it's Chukwudi Iwuji. That's probably very wrong, but I think performance wise he did a good job. I just think maybe there was the writing for his character maybe was a little weak, because it just felt like he didn't really have I don't know, he didn't really have a depth to him. It was just like, I want to create a perfect species, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, he did have like a lot of emotions going around, you know, with Rocket having torn up his face, and with him like really showing emotion when Rocket figured out what the problem was with his eugenics experiment machine. And then,
yeah, no, I think the actor put a lot of emotion into it. I just think the as far as motivation goes, I didn't really see any reasoning for his actions beyond being a mad scientist. Like he was doing it just to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we didn't get much of his past of why he's doing what he's doing, right? Yeah. That's kind of what you're getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the character development for him really wasn't there. It was just flat out, this is what he's done. That's why he's bad.
Right.
And he's still doing it. So be mad at him.
Right. I do think the at the end, I will say when they finally beat him, first of all, kind of nasty when they pulled his face off.
Oh yeah, true. I'm surprised they actually showed that though. Like that's probably one of the most graphic things I've seen in all three of their movies, right? Because like you saw like tendons, you saw his jaw and his mouth all fucked up, you saw his teeth go all the way back, and then his eye sockets were fucked up too.
Yeah. I will say, and that's another interesting thing, is I feel like because James Gunn, the director, he used to do a lot of horror movies, and he's like really into like blood and guts and stuff. And if you saw his Suicide Squad movie, the most recent one,
yeah,
like there's a lot of blood in that movie as well.
Right.
And that one was rated R, but obviously we haven't had a rated R Marvel movie yet. But he is very smart in figuring out ways to work around that, because there's even, and I think all of the action sequences were really good in this, but there's one scene towards the end where they're like in a hallway fighting all of these weird like half animal, half robot things. And if you like pay attention to what they're doing, like all of that stuff is really gruesome, but they get away with it because like none of those creatures have like blood in them. It's just like all of their blood is like this weird yellow liquid instead of being red, and somehow being a different color makes it okay to show on screen.
Right. It's not as triggering. Yeah.
But they were like literally though, like tearing people in half, and it was like splattering all over the place, and I was like, damn, this is wild that like they can have this in this movie. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was just saying it's interesting because like the point where the raccoon or Rocket at the time when he was still young almost escaped the cage, and then his friends escaped, but then they were shot down basically, right?
Yeah.
And he shot the people. Like it's interesting that they showed like the friends being shot down with the bullet holes, but there's like no blood, right? And I think again that's kind of pulling back.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing, because there's also a scene where Star-Lord and Groot just like murder a whole room full of people, and there's like not very much blood in that scene either.
True. Yeah, I forgot about that completely. I mean, granted, those guys may have been robotic people, maybe.
I don't know.
But who knows? I did think though that the creatures that they showed, like the rabbit with the spider legs, and then the walrus with the big wheelchair legs, and then the otter with, what did the otter have?
Robot arms
and like robotic eyes or something like that. And then the evil creatures, which he used as like bodyguards, which like one of them was like a pig or something like that, or a boar.
Yeah.
And they made that guy like unbelievably tough and crazy looking. But yeah, I don't know. I thought the creativity there was pretty cool to watch, to see.
Mm-hmm. And it also brings me to a different point, is because I guess going back to what I was saying earlier, when they beat the High Evolutionary, Rocket for some reason decides not to kill him, and I don't even remember who it was, but one of the other characters even asks why, and he says, because I'm a guardian of the galaxy. And that was like really confusing for me, because I'm like, I feel like this happens a lot in movies where they'll like beat the big bad guy, and then they are like, I'm not going to kill you because I'm a good guy. But then throughout the entire rest of the movie, they're like capping motherfuckers left and right.
True.
And I'm like, so you obviously don't have a problem with killing, because you've killed at least 50 people on the way here, but for some reason you're going to choose not to kill this guy.
He's like the worst one. That's true. I didn't think of that. Yeah. What is that about, dude? Hold up. Wait a minute. Yeah, they definitely should have gotten rid of him, I feel like. But I feel like,
I'm sure he did die because his whole ship exploded.
That's what I was about to say.
A little silly that Rocket didn't just shoot him in the face.
Yeah. I feel like that would have been like a good ending, but maybe if like kids are watching that, that's kind of like one of those moral things. Like you don't want to kill your enemy just because they're bad.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like they already do kill all their other enemies. It's just the big enemy for some reason.
Like that's something that like just kind of like goes right over your head, you know, if you're a kid watching it versus like maybe this one big guy who's been like the problem child the whole time.
Well, I definitely don't think. I mean, this is probably the most, I guess the most adult of at least the Guardians movies, if not the whole MCU. Like, I feel like most of them are pretty safe for like little children, but like, I don't know, this would be really rough for a kid. There's some like pretty gross looking stuff, and especially like all of the like the otter getting shot and the like there are scenes where they don't get too graphic with it, but like showing Rocket getting experimented on. I don't know, I feel like that was rough. That's some intense stuff for like a child.
I agree. And also seeing like kids in like the cages was also a little bit weird for anyone like under maybe 14 or 15.
Also thought it was strange. So, you know, usually Star-Lord has his like space mask thing that he just like presses a button on the side of his head and it like covers his face.
Yeah, true.
Apparently didn't have that, and I don't know why, because I feel like that was another thing that I like while I was watching it when he gets stuck out in space and he like starts to freeze over. I'm like, where's his mask though?
Yeah, true. That's how he usually does it.
Like in the other movies, there have been times where he can just jump through space with his mask on, and I'm like, where's your mask now, bro?
Where it at though? Yeah, good point. I don't know. What do you think of Adam Warlock?
I thought that he's definitely not what I was expecting, but I think there's a lot of potential there. I think I'm really hoping to see more of him in the future. And I'd like to see him become, I guess, more like his comic book counterpart. Yeah. Because in the comics, Adam Warlock is like probably one of the strongest like terrestrial characters. Not terrestrial like he's from Earth, but like other than actual gods, Adam Warlock is probably the strongest character. He's in the comics could easily defeat Thanos. Like he's that strong.
How do you think he got his powers? I don't know that part.
I don't fully remember his origin story. I think he was created by some guy, and then, or not even like one guy. I think it was like some alien race created him. And then like literally the second that he was like quote unquote born, obviously he didn't like come out as a baby and grow up, but the second he gained consciousness, he immediately recognized that the people that created him were bad guys, and he was like, nah, fuck you, and just like flew off.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I think he was a pretty funny character. He was like super powerful, but like also kind of a fucking idiot, you know? Like
yeah, and I didn't really like that. I wanted him to be more of a presence.
I don't know, man. I think I don't know.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But I just like it just, like I said, it just wasn't what I was expecting. But I think that this version of the character can work, and I'm excited to see more of him.
I feel you. Yeah.
Who I definitely am not, like, I was much less happy about is how much of an idiot they made Drax. And I was thinking about this the other day, and because I don't, like, they did it in the second one too, and it's like, and Dave Bautista, amazing with comedy. Like, he makes those jokes work. But like the silly little things were like in the second one, he was like, I've gained the ability to stand so still that I become invisible. And then everyone's like, we can still see you. And it was like, things like that are like, they literally make him stupid. But if you go back to the first movie, like he's not stupid in that movie. The only thing is that his species or his culture, they like don't understand metaphors.
Yeah.
And so like
he had one here this time too, right?
What do you mean?
He had one of those metaphor runs here too when he was trying to apologize, and she told him exactly what to say, and Quill was like, that was actually not bad. but I didn't know that you could talk in metaphors. He's like, what? I know everything about metaphors. And then he
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
went
yeah,
overboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like in the first movie, like he doesn't understand metaphors, and so that leads to some funny misunderstandings. But other than that, he's not stupid in the first movie. He's like a smart father who is just angry because his daughter was murdered by Thanos.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the second and third movies, they turn him into this fool, and I'm not the biggest fan of it.
That's true.
And I know Dave Bautista is also not the biggest fan of it. I think I was reading a quote the other day, and he said he likes Drax, and he loves, like, he's happy with the Guardian series and loved working on it, loved working with everyone else in the series.
Yeah.
But he said he doesn't want Drax to be what people know him for. And so he really is trying to,
what does that mean?
Like, he doesn't want when someone's like, oh, who is Dave Bautista? And you're like, oh, he plays Drax, kind of a thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like, he doesn't want that to be his, like, number one, like, what people think about when they think about his acting career. And so he's been doing, and I think I mentioned this before, but he is like a really good dramatic actor. And he, I don't know, what other episode were we? Oh yeah, on the freaking Knock at the Cabin. He did a good job in that. He did a good job in Blade Runner. He did a good job in Dune. Like, he does more serious roles, and he always kills it. And he's, I think there's nothing wrong with being a comedic actor, but I feel like he's just looking to be taken a bit more seriously.
Yeah. It's funny. We've been like watching a lot of movies with him in it.
Yeah.
Just noticed like there are actually a lot that we've watched. But yeah, I mean he's been doing a good job. But yeah, I would 100% wish that they would start taking him a little bit more serious. Granted, like, this movie wasn't about him really; it was about Rocket.
For sure.
But maybe at one point they'll make it about him, and he'll be, a character with more than just a dummy kind of feel.
How did you feel about Cosmo? The Russian space dog.
Yeah, I didn't really care for it, quite honestly. Like, it felt kind of dumb. That's really all I can say. I think that one part where the dog was holding the two ships together and was focusing really hard, it was just too much for me, honestly. It was like, I get that it can be cute, but meh,
Interesting.
What about you?
I thought she was great. I think I liked the whole the like back and forth with her and Kraglin. I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly, but he like refuses to take back that he called her a bad dog. And just like, it's just like super cool that there's a dog out there with telekinetic powers and they don't give it any explanation. It's just like, yeah, the Russians a long time ago sent a dog into space, and then now it's like can talk and has telekinesis, and that's just all the information that you get.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. Probably that was probably my least favorite character in this whole movie.
Interesting.
I think it was just like overdone. I think it was like funny here and there where the dog was like, take back that you called me a bad dog, but nah.
And the voice actor for Cosmo also played Borat's daughter in Borat 2.
No way. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So that's who that is.
Borat 2 was a great movie. Super cringe, but
I think I am also going back a little bit to Adam. I feel like I don't like that the Sovereign were created by the High Evolutionary. Like, I think I understand, because it's like you don't want to have two completely separate bad guys, because that like can muddle the story a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, it just feels like a weird kind of a retcon.
What is a retcon?
Retroactive continuity is what it's short for. It's like changing something that happened before to make it make sense with what's happening now.
Oh, and they do that in some movies, I guess?
They do that in a lot of movies.
Oh, we love that.
But it is like I think it was interesting that there was just this alien race out there that for some reason are like way more about looks than intelligence, but like they also like they weren't dumb. Like they had because remember in the second movie they had they had like a really powerful army and all of their ships were like drones. And so I was like, that's really smart actually, like not putting any of your soldiers in danger. You just like have them all like at their home base with like a little fake driving seat, and they're just like driving these actual war machines out in the galaxy.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I'm just like, I thought that as a fictional species that was really interesting, and like not that I needed to see a whole bunch more of them, but it kind of rubbed me the wrong way that this movie starts and they're like, the High Evolutionary is like, I created you guys as an experiment, but I don't really care about you guys and blah blah blah. And just like, because there was another thing, and to give you another example of a retcon, because this is what it reminded me of, is in the Spectre movie for James Bond, there's a moment where James Bond is like walking through like a basement or something like that, and the bad guy in that movie is like talking to him over the speakers. And as he's walking through the basement, there are a bunch of pictures on the wall of bad guys from the previous like 4 James Bond movies.
No way.
And while he's looking at all the pictures, the bad guy on the speaker is like, yeah, you remember all of those bad guys? All of them worked for me. I'm the real bad guy.
Oh, no.
It's just like, come on.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I can definitely see that being a thing, especially in these movies.
Yeah. And so I just like, I don't like when like they're like, oh, here's a bad guy, but actually this is a bigger bad guy.
I mean, dude, you always got to face a bigger boss, you know? Like you don't want to fight a big boss and fight like a little...
You can make it a bigger boss without making the bosses connected somehow.
That's very true. Yeah. That is very true.
So yeah, that was also just something that I wasn't a huge fan of.
Yeah, you definitely notice a lot more of those things. I watched the movie just to have a good time, and I did. Although, like, I got teary-eyed here and there. But yeah.
Oh, one thing that we haven't mentioned yet. This is the first Marvel movie to have a fuck in it.
I noticed that, and I was very confused. I was like, do they usually do that?
No,
right?
This is the first one.
So why?
I think just because.
Just because they're like, fuck.
And it was, and I like that. I mean, I definitely because obviously, like we've talked about before, with PG-13 movies, the rule of thumb is that you get one fuck, and it has to be like a insult kind of a fuck, not like a sex kind of a fuck. Like if you're talking
Right.
about fucking, you can't say that even once for a PG-13. But in this one, they just like throw it into a joke and just like completely gloss over it, which I feel like makes it funnier, where they're like trying to drive to the ship and Nebula's having trouble with the lock, and she's like, what do I do next? And Peter just says, open the fucking door.
Yeah. So good. I can't believe she's being like such a smart thing. Doesn't understand that you push the button by the door handle to get this car door open. I don't know if people don't remember that part, but it was when they were on Earth 2 mirrored, Earth 2.0 or whatever.
Counter
Earth, yeah. And they were trying to take the lady's car, but there were like some old school doors.
Yeah, it was like the whole world was like in the 70s or something like that.
Yeah. Which is really cool to think about. Like that, like, sure, yeah, we're in 2023, but there might be a world that's kind of like ours where they're like in 1823. What
Sure.
our 1823 was like, you know? That's so cool. So cool to think about.
I will say there was another. I appreciated the joke because I think it is not what you would expect from. I feel like usually when a movie like tries to put their one fuck in there, they always put it in like a dramatic scene. And so having it in a joke was just like kind of unexpected, which added to the hilarity of it. But there was another scene where I think Gamora was like yelling at everyone, and at the end of it, she says, "Screw you." And I don't know what it is, but "screw you" feels like the most non-serious thing to say to people. Every time I hear someone say "screw you," I'm like, why wouldn't you just say "fuck you"? And, like, it feels wrong to say "screw you."
I don't know. It's like a thing that Christians usually when they're small learn to say, like "screw you" versus "fuck you."
Yeah, but like
my buddy always said "screw you," and I was like, dude, please just say "fuck you." Like, I don't care. And now he obviously says "fuck you," but like back in the day, he always said "screw you," or I don't know, like these other words that where you, like you said, you might as well just say the real thing. It's like so
because
close
I just
to
like
it.
I feel like I don't know, if someone said "screw you" to me, it just like wouldn't offend me at all. Like, that's such a non-strong word.
You'd be taken aback. You'd be like, huh? Wait, say that again, please.
And so when Gamora said it, I was like, come on.
Yeah, I can see that. I honestly, like, I don't have any more pointers. I don't remember all these things that happened in the movie. There's just so much.
There was a lot going on.
What did you think about like the flashbacks?
I thought that they were sweet. I definitely I guess I didn't expect them all to die, but I knew that something bad was going to happen because obviously we haven't seen any of those characters up to this point.
Right. I was kind of sad that all four of them died, or all three of them died. I kind of wanted maybe one of them to have been left over.
Yeah, I guess what I was thinking is I thought Teefs and Floor were going to die. I thought somehow Rocket and Lila were going to escape and then get separated some other way. And so I thought it was going to be like some sort of setup where it's like, well, Lila's out there somewhere and now Rocket has like a personal mission to go and try and find her or something like that. But now she got shot down. Was the first one that died.
Yeah. And you could really see the pain in his eyes too, like when he went crazy and like just tore the High Evolutionary's face up. Like, you could tell there's pain and like that scream and all that stuff. I like how they made Raccoon, like his character act and like his facial expressions. I'd enjoyed all of it.
Yeah, I think I do like, and I guess I don't know. We talked about it in the beginning, but I get okay. So I'll say it like this: how do you feel about the new team that we get at the end with Rocket as the captain?
I don't really care, honestly. I don't think I'm like invested enough in these people and in the team to really have an opinion about that. I think Rocket was always kind of like a leader. He was always the person in the group that had like the ideas, versus Quill. He was just kind of an idiot and went for it and hoped for the best. That's kind of where I'm at with that. But I think that Rocket teamed up with Gamora. Wait, no, not Gamora. Nebula. Rocket teamed up with Nebula on the planet. I think that would be that's a good team leader wise.
So everyone kind of has like a peaceful send off. Like you mentioned earlier, Peter Quill goes back to Earth and meets up with his dad. Drax stays on Nowhere to raise all of the children that they saved. Nebula also stayed on Nowhere, but I think she was just like trying to keep things running. She just like wanted to hang out in the city and figure that shit out.
Yeah.
And like build a community. Mantis said she just needed time to find herself because obviously like which makes sense because since
she said it too.
Since they left Ego, since they beat Ego, she like hasn't really had any time to herself. It's been like she was with Ego and then Ego got killed and then she was with the Guardians, and it's like she has never really had time to
find herself or have fun by herself and live by herself,
recognize what it's like to not be serving someone else.
Right. Yeah, I don't really care for her as a character, quite honestly. I think, I don't know, she's just kind of weak to me.
I think she also maybe gets played for more jokes than necessary. Like the whole thing with the giant alien octopus things.
Oh yeah,
that wasn't funny to me.
No.
But
she called them like dogs. Like, come on.
But like as far as as far as like actual raw strength, I do think that her ability to mess with people's minds is an incredibly powerful one. Like,
no, yeah, no. I agree with that. Her power is great, but I think her as like, I don't know.
You mean like her character isn't as strong?
Right.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's because like 70% of the scenes with her in it, just like she's always just played for a laugh, and
yeah.
I know that more can be done with her character.
Okay, maybe she'll be used in the future.
Maybe
like a surprise weapon. No one knows what she's capable of.
And then obviously Gamora goes back with her Ravagers, which makes sense because she's like, even they talk about it throughout the movie, and it's like, hey, I know that other Gamora had a thing with you, but I'm not her, and I have my own family, and so it makes sense that at the end she like goes back and she's like happy being with those other
ones. Yeah. Do you think she's ever going to come around and like kind of like him again? Because you kind of saw something in that atmosphere.
I think it's more of like a like she can probably see why the other version of herself fell for him, but I don't know if it's ever going to
happen for them.
For them.
Gotcha. Yeah, live and move on when things like that happen.
Am I missing anyone? I mean, obviously Rocket and Groot stay with the team because Groot doesn't go anywhere without Rocket.
Right.
And so, but he's like at the end of the movie is like literally like 20 feet tall.
He's massive,
dude. Ginormous.
Yeah, I remember that in another movie where you were saying that he's a lot smaller than he was prior to, and now this movie he's like 2 different sizes completely, or 3 even.
He's fucking buff too.
Yeah.
Even when like before he gets big, he's like thick.
Right.
And then there's Rocket, Groot, Adam Warlock, and then like one of the children that they rescued, I think, is on the team.
Wait, really?
Am I remembering that correctly?
I don't think so.
Who else is on the team? I'm pretty sure there's like a little girl with like she's got like her eyes glow purple or something like that.
Wasn't that
I don't know.
In the prior movie? Wait, wasn't that a totally different movie?
No, hold on. Let me look it up real quick. Okay, so the updated members are Rocket, Groot, Kraglin, who has the little whistle arrow.
Yeah.
Adam Warlock, Cosmo, the Russian space dog, and Phyla, who is one of the High Evolutionaries test subjects. So yeah, there's one of the children is on the team now.
Oh, I didn't know that. What? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this dog, quite honestly.
I don't know why you're so against Cosmo.
I don't know. He just doesn't fit. It just doesn't make sense to me.
But yeah, I think. Oh, one other thing that really fucking threw me off is at the end, when they're all saying goodbye, Groot says, "I love you guys."
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? But apparently James Gunn explained on Twitter that the reason that everyone just like treats it normally and doesn't also say what the fuck is because he actually still said "I am Groot," but the idea is that
that we understood him.
The audience understands him now.
Oh, interesting. Huh. I mean, he could have made it like sound a little bit differently, like as if like you're, I don't know, because he just made it sound like I love you versus like I am Groot, but like they could have added like an echo to it to make the audience like realize like, oh, we understand for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
but that
kind of threw me
really
too.
Threw me off.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm all out of things to say. To talk about.
Well,
I think we went through pretty much of it.
I think I am too. I guess going out of this movie, my 2 biggest things are I'm curious to see what happens with the legendary Star-Lord will return.
Yeah.
I want to see what's going to happen with that. And I also really would like to see more of Adam Warlock.
Yeah, that kid has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
It's like even for just being kind of an idiot, definitely has potential.
I want to see him grow into not being an idiot. Because I think as like a normal, because first of all, just because I'm done with idiot characters, we've talked about it several times, but there are like 3 of the Guardians that just like get treated like they're dumbasses, and I just don't want that anymore. I think it's okay every once in a while to have someone be a little stupid, but it was a little too much in this movie for me.
Yeah, I feel that.
but I'd like to have Adam Warlock as a like a serious, strong character, and I think that he can be.
Okay. Well, maybe that'll come to fruition here in the next movie, whenever that may be. Do we have any idea of like when their next try is going to happen?
No idea, because James Gunn is now the CEO of DC, and so he's got all sorts of he's got a lot of responsibilities at DC now. So, and I don't think anyone is necessarily like excited to do another Guardians movie without him. So I'd say it's probably going to be at least a decade before we get another proper Guardian movie.
No way.
And I don't know, man.
Why that long? A decade? That's crazy. That's like Grand Theft Auto 6.
Well, I mean, yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5 has been out for over a decade too. Yeah. So when they release Grand Theft Auto 6, then they'll release a new Guardians.
Yeah. What was the time span between like the Guardian movies?
First one came out in 2014.
Okay.
Second one was
that's like all three of them in less than 10 year span. That's crazy.
The other one was 2017. So it's been 6 years since the second one.
Yeah. Damn. That's nutty. All right. Well, I guess we'll have to see and wait and see when the next one happens.
Yeah. Well, with that said, I believe it is time for us to get into some trivia.
Let's do it.
Speaking of the 6-year gap between this movie and the last Guardians, our first trivia here is that this is the longest gap between a Marvel film and its sequel.
Wow. It like this one was, or it's going to be?
No, it was. Like the 6-year gap between Volume 2 and Volume 3 is the longest that there has been between a Marvel movie and its sequel.
Interesting. Okay.
I think the next longest one was the gap between the first Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, which I believe was 5 years and 6 months.
Damn. Do you think they were making the movies in that time, or just there was like a gap?
I think because obviously everything is all like interconnected and stuff, and like Doctor Strange was in other movies, so it's not like he was completely gone. The same with the Guardians, like they were also in Endgame, and they were briefly in Thor: Love and Thunder. Like they were around, but as far as like one Guardians of the Galaxy movie and the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah. Very cool.
Next piece of trivia here. This film set the record for the most makeup appliances used in a single film, having more than 23,000 prosthetics used across more than 1,000 actors.
What? 1,000 actors? Where?
Probably just like background people, most of it.
Bro, that is insane. They should learn something from John Wick, where they use like 23 people, how many times?
And just reuse over and over again.
Yeah. Wow, that's insane. 23,000 prosthetics.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's crazy. I mean, I guess it makes sense because like different planets and all those people that we saw on the other planet, but still, that's crazy.
And I can imagine that's probably another reason why I don't anticipate seeing many of these characters anytime soon, because even like with our main Guardians, like the amount of time it must take for a little bit with Gamora, but I feel like Gamora is on the light end, honestly, because hers is mostly like paint with like a little bit on her face, but especially for Nebula and for Drax, those two probably have to be in makeup for fucking hours.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone would be able to go through that.
That's and to like crazy. Sit in a chair for like 6+ hours and then immediately have to go act. I'd be so fucking tired. I can't. Like, props to all of them.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see them being like not wanting to do that for a while.
Yeah.
All right, next piece of trivia here. When Peter Quill returns home, it is revealed that his grandfather's name is Jason, which is a nod to Peter Quill's father in the comic books, King Jason of Spartax.
Oh, cool. Never seen the comic books, but that's dope.
Yeah, in the comics, Peter's dad is an alien.
Wait, what?
Which I guess he is here too, but here his dad's Ego in the movies.
Wait, he was an alien?
Yeah. Spartax is a planet, and Peter's dad in the comics is the king of that planet.
Interesting. Okay. Huh. Know that.
And last piece of trivia, Lila, Rocket's fellow test subject, was actually previously mentioned in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 as one of Rocket's known associates.
At what point, though?
When they were being scanned by the Nova Corps, and they're like going through after they get arrested, they're like scanning each person, and you see like a little blurb of info come up, and it's like blah blah blah. This is so and so from this planet, and aliases and associates. And on Rockets, it showed Groot and Lila as his associates.
Very cool. Okay. Yeah,
which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because, like, how would anyone know her name?
Yeah, true. Dude, honestly, like, I would never, ever put all this shit together. There's no way. Like, I don't know who's thinking of, like, all these connections, but that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just people that are, I'm sure someone, after watching the first movie, like, kept track of that, and they were like, oh, yeah, it says Groot and Lila. I wonder if Lila's ever going to come up. And then they saw this one, they're like, oh, shit.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah,
some people have way too much time on their hands. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's like their job to keep track of that shit. I don't know.
Could also be. Yeah. Yeah, that's it for trivia.
Hell yeah. That was good. A lot of the stuff, like the trivia this time, I would never have known. Like, over my head.
Which means it is time for us to get wrecked. And I'll go ahead and go first. My recommendation for this week is going to be recently the second season of Star Wars Visions came out on Disney Plus. Star Wars Visions is an anthology series. So what they do is each episode is created by a different animation studio, and they just like give them like pretty much free reign to just tell whatever story they want to tell within the Star Wars universe.
Oh, interesting.
And so it's like all of these fun, like, independent stories, and obviously, because they're all different animation studios, each episode looks different too, which is really fun.
Interesting. Wait, so like, what is it on? What did you say it was on?
On Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. Okay. And how are they? Have you watched a few of them?
I've
I guess
watched 2 of them so far in the second season. I watched the whole first season, and I liked all of those. Well, I liked most of those. But I've watched 2 in the second season so far, and I thought they've been good so far.
Awesome. That's pretty good then, yeah. Good rec for those that have the Disney Plus platform. My recommendation is a food, and it is an organic everything bagel chips. They're called organic everything bagel chips, and they are so freaking good. They have basically, you can like use them to like to dip into cheeses or into dips or a salad topper, but like, man, they have like, it's like a garlicky taste with like, I don't know how to describe it, like dried bread, but so delicious. It's like a snack for me. I just kind of eat one here and there, and they're quite oily, I think, because like there's olive oil in it, I believe, but so worth buying it. And I got it at Costco, but I'm sure you can get it at other places too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. So for our audience, I would just like to let everyone know, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Tell your friends and family about us. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CashFanPod. If you want to send us a message, you can do so on either of those platforms, or you can send an email to casualfanaticpodcast@gmail.com. Links for all of those will be in the description. And Luca, could you tell them what kind of message they can send us?
Yeah, of course. Honestly, anything. If you've listened to the podcast and you like what we're talking about, or if you have any suggestions of what you want us to talk about, movies, shows, whatever, and if you want to send us some links of things that you'd like us to check out and maybe review, let us know. Also, if you have good suggestions of like we just did with foods, or with different shows that you could watch that are good, let us know of that too.
Yeah.
Or if there are things that you think we could improve on in the podcast, we'd definitely like to hear that. And yeah, go from there.
And for our proactive listeners, if anyone wants to get prepared for the next episode, next week we are going to be talking about the movie Hook.
Hook. All right.
It has Robin Williams in it. It is actually also a suggestion from one of our listeners named Nicole.
All right.
Sent us a message on Instagram asking if we could do one of her favorite movies for her birthday. I won't say her birthday for privacy reasons, just because I'm not trying to put people's personal information out there.
Yeah.
But by the time this episode comes out, and definitely by the time the Hook episode comes out, her birthday will have already passed. But Nicole, the next one's for you.
Hell yeah. We're going to review the mess out of that movie. Sounds good.
All right, then this has been Casual Fanatic. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.